Hello, Ramsey Orchestra. Hey guys, today's Friday, so that means another live video. Today, this whole week, actually, it's been spent on learning about vibrato. So we're going to spend this lesson on learning some DIY things you can do at home to be able to practice vibrato if you don't have your instrument. We're going to be learning two different types of vibrato, one for violin and viola, and another type for cello and bass. But it's good for everyone to kind of just watch this whole video and get an idea of what different instruments have to do to be able to sound good on their instrument, to be able to play expressively. And if you guys read that article that I shared yesterday, it was a good video on understanding why we play with vibrato. One thing I really liked about it is that they said that no vibrato is really the same. Everybody's vibrato is a little different, which I thought was really cool. But this is a good practice for you guys to be able to learn. The earlier you can practice to do this, the better off you're going to be. This does take a very long time to be able to learn how to use. So it took me, it wasn't until my third year of teaching that I was comfortable doing it. And I'm still in my sixth year trying to figure it out. I'll be honest with you guys, I'm not 100% on being able to do it and or teach it. So I'm just going to do the best I can today. And any questions at all or any videos you want to send me, you guys got my email address, and we'll go from there. So what you're going to need today, if you want to do this with us, is I made if you guys saw in the video, they used salt shakers. If you guys saw in the video, they used shakers to be able to make the motion of being able to make the sound of vibrato, because a big part of being able to do vibrato is having good technique. Okay, so our setup is going to be for violin and viola. If you just bring your hand up and set it up like you're going to play with a straight wrist, fingers are curled, thumb is bent. Okay, I'm just imagining that I've got my instrument in hand, okay? Violin and viola, there are two types of vibrato for you. There's arm vibrato, where you bend at the elbow, or there's wrist vibrato, where you only bend at the wrist, okay? I preferably only use wrist vibrato, but we'll do both wrist and arm vibrato today. In cello bass, you're set up right here, making a C in your left hand cellos. Basses, if you want to do the same but split that first and second finger, you can be able to, all you're going to do is take your hand back like you're going to take a drink. Okay, if you notice, I have a full arm rotation whenever I do this, okay, because that's how it needs to feel. If your arm starts to get tired, that's okay. It just means you're working the muscles in your hands. So my arm's getting tired as well. So that's your all's motion. Violin and viola here. Make sure this is also in the left hand. And then cello bass here, okay? Or if you want to put it on your chest. Now, what I'm going to use today is 2 Dixie cups to wash your mouth out. I'm going to use some tape, and I use some rice. So, my homemade shaker, I put rice inside the cup, and I put the other cup on top of it, and I taped it like crazy so it doesn't fall apart and go everywhere. And I've got my metronome set to 66 to be able to practice with our shaker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the metronome on. Go ahead and just hold your shaker in your hand. Hold it in your hand. Hold it. Hold it. Okay? Make sure it's in the left hand, because remember we bow with our right hand. Now, what you'll do at first is just go 1, 2, 1, 2. I'm doing arm vibrato. Here's wrist. Cello bass. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. Now with that, now you can subdivide the beat down to 8th notes. 1 and 2 and. Now, we can also break it down faster. So what we can do is break it down into 16th notes. Now, 6th grade, we have not learned about 16th notes yet. So you're going to count them 1 E and so there's 4 16ths and 1 beat. So you're going to think 1 E and cello bass. You're not 1 E and 2 E and 3 E and I'll do without it because the shaker's throwing me off. 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and so make sure you're doing that whole rotation in your arm, okay? That'll help you be able to stay in time with the beat as well, because doing it with the beat will help your tone be more open and make the vibrato more consistent, because you don't want a vibrato that's like the waves are inconsistent. It won't sound very good. And then we'll talk more about slower and faster pieces on what type of vibrato you use for that. So, got over with the shaker. Now, this is gonna seem like kind of an awkward one, but with a hanger. So what you can do is take the hook up here at the top and put it behind you. So you take the bottom part of the hanger here, put it on your shoulder. Violins and violas, cello bass, I'll go over with you guys here in a second. What you're gonna do is be able to use this straight line here to be able to practice moving your fingers. So when you practice this on your instrument, one thing they have you do is polish the string. So this is if you don't have a string to polish, you can polish a hanger. So what I can do is to be able to work on my flexibility and my fluidity and being relaxed, not being tense. You can move your finger back and forth, okay? So I've got my middle finger down, and that's the one finger I feel like is strongest for me, is my middle finger. My first and fourth finger are weaker. It just means I need to do more. I need to practice more. So what you can do is just polish the hanger. Now, as you start covering a smaller distance, I just want you to start going faster, covering a smaller distance, and then boom. What you'll do is you'll plant your finger down, keep that wiggle going. What I'm gonna do in slow motion is it's gonna look like that. It's gonna be flat, bent, flat, bent, flat, bent, okay? So it's gonna be wiggle quick, fast, fast, back and forth, and then plant the finger. And your goal is to keep the finger in the same place. Don't let it move around. Plant it in one spot, and then move your wrist and your elbow, depending on what vibrato you're doing. Now, there is no set path on if you have to go arm or wrist vibrato. Okay, this is arm. Now I've been going arm to wrist, okay? But like it said, everyone's vibrato is different. So you're gonna learn it different than I might teach it to you. Or something might come easier to you that may come easier to others, or it's harder for you, or so on and so forth. So now cello bass, what you're gonna do is I'm just taking the hanger, put it on my right leg, and you're just gonna slide your hands up and down. Same thing. This is just nice to be able to have to keep your fingers in alignment. And as you go a smaller distance, plant the finger down, and you should have a wiggle like so, okay? So what that does is it bends the pitch back and forth on the string. But again, this is a way that you can practice it at home if you don't have an instrument at home, okay? Now, let's hop into our instruments. So, violins and violas, you guys will work the same. What you can do is, no bow yet, because you gotta do one thing at a time. But what I can do is I'll take my hand and I can place it on the shoulder of the instrument, okay? And starting out practicing, you can do all 4 fingers, but what you can do is just take your fingers and straighten them out and curl them. So basically you're bringing your palm back and forth to the shoulder of the violin, okay? And what that's doing is it's practicing that technique. You can notice that I'm bending my wrists a lot because I'm practicing for that wrist vibrato, okay? If I wanted to do arm vibrato, so wrist, arm. Ooh, see, I'm not used to it. Wrist, arm. I'm so not used to doing arm. There we go. So there's a little bit of bend in the wrist in the arm vibrato, but overall, I stick with the wrist because it's easier for me, but it might be easier for you either way. Now, cellos and basses. You can do the same thing here on the side of your instrument. Just go back and forth, okay? Back and forth. Just working on getting that feeling of moving those fingers up and down, because you're moving them in a way that it's not natural, okay? from here, cello bass, everybody else, if you violin viola, if you want to start doing one finger at a time, make sure you are applying good pressure to the wood when you do this, okay? One good thing you can also do is have a metronome going, so you can think 1 and 2, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a stop. Okay, so those are things you can do to practice to start slow and be able to build up that technique to be able to play with vibrato so you can start playing expressively. And again, it's going to take you a while to be able to do this. Okay, it's going to take time. Again, it took me 3 years to even remotely start getting comfortable with it. I'm still struggling with it. So now you can take your fingers. If you guys notice on my strings here, I've got my 4 strings and then there's lanes in between. What you can do is you can also polish the strings. And you want to keep all 4 fingers in a straight line, going up and down in between the strings. Good, just like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my fingers and just slide them up and down in between. I'm keeping all 4 fingers in line, cello bass. You can go slide up and down like so, in between the strings. I'm in between cellos, my D and G string, and then basses you can be between your A and D string. Just sliding up and down. Now as you cover a shorter distance, go faster, and then all you need to do is pick a finger and then plant it down, and that'll initiate your vibrato, okay? Because it's just a wide motion cello bass, wide, thicker string, wider motion, okay? So I'm just rocking it back and forth, okay? You can do the same thing with your first finger, slide it back and forth, shorter distance, and then plant. And your goal is to try to wiggle the finger back and forth, okay? Wiggle back and forth. It's still on the string, it never leaves the string. Apply a good amount of pressure. Make sure you're using that thumb on the back to support. Now, do one thing at a time. You want to try to get the motion down before you try to stick it with a bow, okay? Now, taking the same thing you just did with the bow, with that motion, okay, that wiggle. If I were to slow it down, you can see my finger trying to kind of wiggle back and forth, flatten. So you can kind of see my finger as I set it down on the string. I have tall fingers and I've got short nails. Ta-da! Short nails. And I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to move it back and forth. I'm going to do it slow so you guys can hear the bend that happens to the pitch. If you're listening for that D-I-E-I-E-I-E-I, that's where I'm bending the pitch. So all that vibrato is, guys, is just a rapid bend of pitch. That's all it is, okay? Don't make it any harder than it is. But the motion and technique itself is difficult to get down, especially for younger players, okay? So I'm hitting you with a big challenge to be able to put that finger down and try to work on getting that movement, okay? Now, cello and basses. Same thing for you guys. The wiggle is going to happen just the same, only front to back. Okay, so that's slow to fast. Slow motion, bend the pitch, bend, and then I'll speed it up. Okay, it just takes time. It takes time to practice. And if you guys have any questions at all, you know to email me. If you want to send me a video of you practicing like Mr. Turner. I seem to be doing this, but it isn't really making sense to me. Is there something I can do to change it? And I'll send you some comments back, or I'll send you a video back. Don't be afraid to do that, guys. I want to be here to help you. and I want to be here to just inspire you as much as I can during this time. But that's pretty much it on Vibrato. I thought this was a good week to be able to reflect on some things and be able to just work on very advanced things, especially for your all's age. So you're doing a great job. Just make sure you're checking in every once in a while. We're having more and more people every day check in, which is really good. But just do your part and make sure your priorities are in order as to what is important to you and things that need to get done, so that way you can end the year strong. Okay. But yeah, so I do get to announce this month's Students of the Month. I apologize that I did not get the survey out earlier. Well, we had a good amount of people vote. I just kind of forgot. But I wanted to be able to get you guys your goodie bags out. So our winners are, in 6th grade, Molly Buck. Congratulations, Molly. She's playing first violin. In 7th grade, we have Alex Richardson. Congratulations, Alex. And in 8th grade, Eva Meredith. Congratulations, Team Viola. You got violas representing there, guys. That's awesome. So congratulations to you guys. I'll have your certificates and your goodie bags in the mail. And I'm very, very proud of this orchestra program and the hard work that you guys are putting in. I know we're asking a lot of you right now, but just keep pushing through. It's going to get better. It has to get better. It might rain, but it doesn't always pour. And if it does pour, it doesn't stay around forever. Okay, so everything in life is temporary, except for what we got, because we're awesome. Keep practicing, keep working, and see you guys soon.